it for security reasons, I think. But I struggle. Right, so we go full screen. Go so I can see you all. Yes, that's good. That works nicely. You guys can see me. I should be the big video on your screen. If I'm not, you might want to switch it to speaker view just so that you can see me nice and clearly. All right, so I'll go over there. We're going to start sitting down. I'm going to record this class, which means I go over there. For those of you who don't know Leanne, I go over there and I do like a little introduction like I'm on YouTube, which is always funny to watch anyway, so you can enjoy that as well. Right, I'm going to mute you guys who aren't on mute and we can catch up at the end. There we go, I think that's everybody. Cool. All right then, so we'll start sitting down. You can make your way to a comfortable seat. I'm just going to put my timer on, or we'll be here all night because I'm not a very good judge of time. So, there we go. All right, so find yourself a comfortable seat. Take your time in getting there. If sitting on the floor doesn't work for you, why not try sitting up on a yoga block if you've got one. A couple of books work really nicely. A cushion under your bum can get you the extra height you need if you want a little bit of extra padding. You don't have to sit cross-legged just because I am. You can sit with your legs stretched out straight. You can kneel if that suits you better, or you can sit cross-legged if that works for you. Take your time in getting yourself settled, and we'll meet there in that comfortable seat. Doesn't have to be anything particularly fancy. I'm just getting my hair out of the way. I'll do my little YouTube introduction. Hi everyone, and welcome to class. We're going to start in a seated position. Once you've found yourself there in your comfortable seat, feel free to kind of fidget or wiggle as much as you need to get yourself kind of settled in a position that works for your body in this moment. You don't have to sit in a way that feels uncomfortable. I'd much rather you were comfortable here at the beginning of the class than you felt like you were sitting in a way that was yogic or whatever that might be. So make yourself comfortable. Hands can rest wherever you like, perhaps being a little bit aware of the kind of hand-shoulder chain. Or I like the image that the hands sort of act as magnets for the shoulders. So if the hands are in and forwards, the shoulders might also come in and forwards. So just be a little mindful of how you're positioning your hands and what's happening in your body as a result. They can face up, they can face down, they can be wherever feels comfortable for you, and you're welcome to play around with a couple of different variations if you're just not sure straight away. You might want to have a little wiggle through the neck and shoulders. You might want to release the jaw, have a bit of a kind of pick through the jaw maybe. And when you feel like you've got yourself settled, we're going to take a slow inhale breath through the nose. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your gaze to look down towards the floor or close your eyes. Whichever feels better for you. There's no pressure to close the eyes if closing the eyes doesn't feel right in your body. So if you want to close the eyes, you're welcome. If not, skip it. Just bring your gaze down and see if you can soften your face here. Allowing the face to become kind of soft and relaxed through the jaw, through the muscles of the cheeks, through the sides of the neck. And we just start our practice with this kind of few moments spent in quiet reflection. And what we're looking for here is to get a real sense of how our body is feeling. So we just spend the first few moments of the practice dropping in and getting an idea of what's going on in the body, what's sort of present here. So it might be that you immediately notice tension. That's something a lot of us do. We kind of immediately observe tension in the body, and it becomes hard to think about anything else. If you are noticing something like that, maybe there's tension, maybe there's restlessness, maybe there's kind of tired achiness. Those sensations, it's easy to get stuck there. So if you are finding yourself with something like that, perhaps make a little mental note of it. Noting it and knowing that you're going to be mindful of it during your practice. And then let your attention move on. See if you can peel away the layers of what's happening in the body. drawing your awareness, your focus, deeper into the body. An easy breath. Doesn't have to be a deep breath, doesn't have to be a yogic breath. It can just be an easy, relaxed, slow breath through your nose. And let's come to watch that breath now, without changing it, which is hard. See if you can just observe the way the body moves with the inhale and the way the body moves with the exhale. This breath is our anchor point for the practice. It's what we come back to all the time. We match up our movements to the breath. So it's interesting to observe the way the breath moves the body when we're not attempting to move. When we're sitting in relative stillness, there is still movement here. We're going to watch a couple more breaths in quiet. And then when you feel ready, use an inhale breath to grow a little taller, to lengthen through the crown of the head, to sit up straight. And use your exhale breath to allow the chin to fall towards the chest. So you're just letting the head hang. The back is upright. The muscles of the neck are soft and relaxed. You might notice a stretch in the back of the neck or the top of the shoulders. And importantly, you're not forcing the chin to the chest. You're just letting the head hang here. You might choose to make some small kind of intuitive movements, maybe a little roll of the head from side to side, or a release of the jaw. And then when you feel ready, we're going to make this movement a little bit bigger, looking out over our right shoulder on an inhale breath. So inhale draws the chin up and along, we'll look out over the right shoulder. Exhale breath drops the chin back through to center. Same again, but on the left. So inhale draws the chin up and you'll look out in the same direction as your left shoulder. Exhale and you'll drop the chin back through center. We're going to go one more time on each side. So up towards your right on your inhale breath. You can keep the head and neck relaxed. Exhale drops the chin back through center. Last one, inhaling up towards your left shoulder. See if you can keep your right shoulder relaxed. Exhale drops the chin back through to center. From this place, when you feel ready, start to send a little bit of power, a little bit of energy out through to the fingertips. Spreading the fingers out wide, making the hands feel active as if you're reaching out to grab something. The arms are going to straighten up. And as you inhale, you're going to draw the arms up and overhead. As the arms go up and overhead, the chest will open up, the chin will lift, and you might shift your gaze to look up towards the ceiling. Exhaling, you're going to bring your right hand down beside your right hip. Leave your left hand where it is, but see if you can just relax it a little bit. Let the shoulder get a bit softer, maybe put a bend in the elbow. So these right fingertips are going to stay on the mat, but they're going to be relaxed, and the right shoulder is going to stay relaxed. Inhaling, you'll lengthen up on the left side, reach up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, you're going to come over into a side bend down the left-hand side, which might mean taking the right hand further away from the body to make some space, to keep this right shoulder very soft and relaxed. Your choice here about what happens with your head. Some of us automatically look at our top hand. If that's comfortable for you, you can do that, or you might just let the head hang out. Take a last inhale breath here, reaching long. Exhale, you're going to let the left hand gently fall back by your left hip, and as it does, it will drag you back up to upright. Nice. We're going to do exactly the same again. Inhaling to activate through the hands, to reach out through the arms. As the arms lift up, the chest opens, the chin lifts, the gaze lifts. At the top of your inhale, you're reaching up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, your left hand comes down by your left hip as your right arm relaxes. Inhale to lengthen up on your right side, reach up and out. Exhale to draw yourself over into the side bend. Your left hand can move further away from the body to give you some space. Your right hip, your right sit bone is pressing down into the mat. Big inhale for length, just a bit mindful of what's happening in your neck. Exhale to draw it back. Right hand coming back down beside the right hip, gently bringing the body back to upright. Nice. From here, it's going to be 3 breaths. An inhale reaches the arms up and overhead. And the exhale simply drops both hands at the same time. So we're going to do that twice more, just pairing the movement up with the breath. Inhale to reach. Exhale to let the hands float down. Last one. Inhale, the arms are rising up. Exhale, let the hands fall. When the fingertips come down beside your hips, you might want to give the shoulders a bit of a wiggle and a roll. You can roll one at a time, or you can roll both together. You can make it a big movement or a small movement. Just giving the shoulders a bit of an opportunity to kind of unwind before we transition from here, from this seated position. We're going to move on to all fours. So as we come onto all fours, you can swing the legs out from underneath you and meet us on the hands and knees. So we've made those little movements, those little wiggles in the shoulders to allow for us to bring the hands stacked under the shoulders and the arms to feel reasonably active. The hands are going to push down into the mat, fingertips spread wide. Actively think about engaging your index finger knuckle down into the floor. If you let that index finger knuckle peel away, what tends to happen is the hand falls outwards towards the little finger side and you end up with a little bit of wrist ache. So keep that index finger knuckle plugging in to keep the wrists nice and strong. Knees are stacked under the hips, tops of the feet are down on the floor, so your shin bones are pressing down into the mat. And from here, the simplest little movement in the the simplest thing I think I've come up with, you're just going to wag your tail. So you're just going to let your hips shift right and then left. You're just letting the hips drop from side to side as much as is interesting to you. You can let your shoulders become a bit involved in that movement, the way a kind of really happy dog wags its whole body. Little wag from side to side. What can feel nice, perhaps, is as you wag your tail, look back to see if you can see it, and you might get a stretch down your side body. So just a little wag at the center of the waist, getting a bit of movement in the hips here. And then we'll swap this little kind of wag from side to side. When you're ready, coming back, we'll swap it for a circle. And so how that's going to look is it's going to shift forward slightly. The hips move forward slightly, out to the side and back, as if you were trying to draw a circle with your tailbone. So as if you're trying to draw a circle in the air with your tailbone. And you can make this a big movement, or you can keep it quite small. So if I was going to keep it quite small, I would just be rolling around the knee. I wouldn't be bringing any of the rest of the body into it. If you want to make it bigger, perhaps you're coming right the way back to your hips and then all the way forwards. Just getting an idea of kind of hips moving, knees moving, shoulders moving. Stay with one direction for now. We'll change direction in a minute. So just allowing that rotation, big or small. You can make it quite free and relaxed. The shoulders can be pretty relaxed here. And then when you're ready, bring yourself back through to center and just change direction. So take that rotation, that circle, back the other way. Allowing the tailbone to kind of circle around. Big or small movements, a little bit of softness in at the elbows if you're coming in for a very big movement. So you can bend the elbows, the arms don't have to be locked out straight rigid the whole time. We'll go for a couple more breaths. A couple more breaths here. Just kind of mixing things up, not coming straight into our cat-cow and seeing how different it feels in the body. When you're ready, bringing yourself back to neutral, we'll meet there. Body in neutral, we're just going to find a bit of warm up for the wrists or a bit of ease in the wrists. So I want you to imagine that you're on, your knees are on the side of a riverbank or the edge of a lake, and out in front of you, it's frozen over. And you just want to use your hands to kind of test the ice. So it really is as simple as just kind of padding your paws around on the mat. You can take them far away. You can really reach them out long, see what the ice is like out there in front. You can bring them in close, see how it feels over here. You can take them at different angles. So you could bring fingertips in towards each other. See how that feels. You can take the fingertips out away from each other. Pad around the mat there with the hands in lots of different positions. You could pad with just the tips of your fingers and keep your hands like little spiders. You could use your knuckles and see how that feels. And what you might have noticed starting to kick in is as we shift the hands around like this, there's no stable base out in front, means we're actually doing a good amount of core work, and there's some firing up in our quads here, because that is what's keeping the body in this position. So if you take your hands away from the floor, your belly has to kick in. So as you do that over and over, you're kind of starting to wake up those deep core muscles, those strong hip flexors. We'll play with this just a little longer, perhaps starting to make your way back to hands under shoulders. When hands come under the shoulders and you find yourself back in neutral, it's a movement that I'm going to do my best to describe from the side. We're going to roll our shoulders. After all that movement in the hands and the wrists, we'll see how it feels to bring it all the way up to the shoulders. And you get a roll in the shoulder here by bending the elbow. So start whichever side feels right, bend the elbow, drop the shoulder, and then allow the shoulder to scoop forwards and roll onto the back body. And then you're going to change direction. Bend the elbow, scoop the shoulder forwards, roll it onto the back body. It doesn't quite matter here whether the movement you're doing is exactly the same as the movement I'm doing. But what you're looking for is this sensation that you're rolling the shoulders onto the back body. Just be, again, a little bit aware of what's happening in the rest of the body. So you're thinking about the shoulders, 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 but can you think about how it's maybe feeling in your lower back? Do you need to pull your belly in? Get a bit more support there, perhaps. So snaky shoulder roll. When you're ready to let this go, we'll bring it back to neutral. We're going to tuck our toes underneath, if that's available to you, and just walk your hands all the way back in, coming up into a little toe stretch. We're not going to be here for very long. All we're going to do is just give the hands a shake out. If sitting like this with the hips on the heels is really uncomfortable for you, take your body weight away from the hips, kneel upright instead. You're just going to give the wrists a roll. Wrists a roll and a shake. You can let that shake come all the way up into your arms if you want to. Maybe a little bit in the neck. Just giving the hands a bit of a wiggle and a roll and a shake. When you're ready, when you feel like you've freed up a bit of movement in the hands, loosened off the arms slightly, we'll bring the hands back onto the floor. But this time, a slightly different shape when we come hands on the floor. This is our last little bit in all fours. So if you are feeling it in your wrists, this is your last little bit of movement, and it's slightly different. So hands are coming onto the floor. You're going to extend your left leg out to the side, and it doesn't matter if you don't have space to leave it out there, because it's only going to be there for a second. Left leg goes out to the side, and then you're going to drag it back in, bending your knee. So what you're going to end up with is your left heel roughly in line with your right knee, and a kind of right angle box shape underneath this left knee. Your left toes can point out to the side, and from that position you're asymmetric now. You're just going to have a little bit of a wiggle here. So you're just going to see how it feels to rock body backwards and forwards. I'll show you what this looks like from the side, because I think it's sometimes a bit useful to see it. So that is the position my legs are in. Hands are out in front, and I'm simply seeing how it feels to bring body weight backwards and forwards. I'm coming back. So it's on the side again. You might take it kind of in side to side movement. This left foot's not glued to the floor. You can lift up your left heel, make a bit of space for yourself. You can lift up your left toes if you want to. If you're feeling comfortable here, like you've had a chance to kind of play with it, you might bring this left arm into action. So those of you who've done class with me before will know this shape. So this is our base for free movement, our asymmetric base for free movement. The free movement bit means that I give you no instructions, which is always a bit scary if it's your first time doing it. If it's your first time doing it, my suggestion is stick with a big circle. A big circle feels lovely. You can play with other stuff here though, maybe like posting one arm under the body or allowing that top hand to lay on the lower back. Allowing the arm to reach out past the ear. Any little wiggles that you feel good kind of getting into here. And the idea is that this movement wants to be really pleasurable in the body. It wants to feel like kind of very satisfying. Last breath here, maybe doing your favorite movement one more time. And then bringing the left hand gently back to the floor. Left hand back to the mat. Left knee is going to come back to the mat, matching up with the right, and you're just going to pause. Pause and take a breath and notice how the body feels, how different the left side feels to the right maybe. And then we'll take it on the other side. So I'm going to spin around so I've got space. Hopefully you guys will have a little bit of room on either side of your mat to extend your right leg out and then drag it in. So your right heel points in towards your left knee and is roughly in line with your left knee. And there's a box shape underneath this right knee. And from there, we just start really simple, allowing the body to maybe move backwards and forwards or side to side. If you're feeling it a lot in your wrists, don't forget, you can change your hand positioning the same way we did when we were padding on thin ice. You can come onto your knuckles or fingertips. You can lift this right heel up. Get yourself a bit more space. You can press the right heel down, lift the right toes if you've got the room for that. When you've got a little bit of space, you've played around with this action, the rolling forwards and backwards or side to side, start to include that right hand maybe. Any movements that you like in this right hand. And so part of the reason I don't really give you kind of instructions and instead I just sort of talk and fill the space with suggestions and maybe feelings to go after is because I don't want you to go feeling like you have to do something huge here. This can be really small. It can be pretty still in the hips and a reach up and overhead and a breath. This might be enough. Or it could be big movements. It could be little wiggles between places. Can be low to the ground. We'll take a last breath here. Maybe doing your favorite thing one more time. And then we'll bring right hand back gently to the floor. Right knee back to match left knee. Just pause. Just notice how things are, how things feel, what's going on here. When you feel ready, you're going to tuck your toes under and just sort of take a bit of pleasure in really pressing your bum back as far as you possibly can. So press, press, press with the hands, lengthen out the body. You might want to tuck your chin to your chest, get a bit of kind of rounding in the back. When you feel ready, plant down your hands, take an inhale breath, look at your hands. And then as you breathe out, you're going to send your bottom up into the air for your downward facing dog. And what's really important here in this first one is that your knees can be bent. Your knees can be bent, your heels do not have to touch the floor. The sensations that we're after are the hands pressing the body weight back towards the legs. The legs are strong and can hold lots of our weight. What we don't want to end up with is all of our weight dumping into our hands, because that's just like a really terrible push up, and it feels horrible. You want to think about hands pressing weight back, bum really lifted up towards the ceiling. If you need to release down to your knees whenever you want to catch your breath, you're welcome to. But let's see if we can move here, pedaling out the legs, bending one knee and then the other, maybe shaking the head. Maybe shake the head no, maybe nod the head yes. Any little movements that you like the kind of sound of, you like the feel of. When you are ready, You're going to bring this downward facing dog to stillness. If you rested on your knees, come back and join us just for one breath in downward facing dog, taking an inhale through your nose and an exhale to sigh through your mouth. Inhale, look forwards between your hands. Exhale, you're going to walk your feet in a bit, your hands back a bit, and find yourself in a forward fold. It doesn't have to be beautiful. When you're in your forward fold, let's continue this this wiggling. Let's continue this movement. Allow the body to swing from side to side, or bend the knees, shake the head. Any little movements that you like the sound of, like the feel of. All right, from here, something slightly different. You're going to put a bend in your knees, a deep bend in your knees. That means you can put your hands on your feet. So you might need to bend your knees a lot. Hands on your feet or roughly near your feet. And then as you breathe in, you're going to start to slide the hands up the fronts of the legs. The hands will slide up the shin bones and over the kneecaps, nice and slowly. Don't worry about your breath. Just go to a normal breath, an easy breath. Hands slide up the fronts of the thighs, past the hips. Hands slide up the sides of the waist. They're going to come through the center of the chest. Find your chin up the sides of the face and reach up towards the ceiling, breathing in. Exhale, soften your knees, let your body fold forwards, all the way back down over your legs. Long forward fold. Allow the body to drop, allow the head to go. Maybe you pedal, maybe you wiggle, maybe you want to be still. We're going to do exactly that movement twice more. So when you're ready, bend your knees, lay your hands against your feet or your shins or whatever you can reach. And then the inhale breath starts your movement. Breathing in, slide the hands up the shins. Knees. Thighs, maybe transitioning up the outsides of the thighs this time, feeling that warm contact of your hands against your body, sides of your waist or the front of your belly, center of your chest, sides of your neck, chin, face, reach up for the ceiling. Big inhale breath. Last one, exhale, bend your knees, soften in, fold. All the way down, really nice. Once you're down at the bottom, take a moment, have a wiggle if you need it. And then hands find their position on the tops of your feet or on your shins or wherever they need to be. And the inhale starts that stroke upwards. Imagine this stroke upwards is kind of drawing energy up from the ground into the body, coming up past the thighs, the hips. Go slowly, unroll yourself. Through the center of the chest, turning the hands, fingertips up the sides of the neck, face up for the ceiling with an inhale breath. Exhale, allow the hands to fall gently down by your sides this time. Maybe take a moment in stillness there if you want to. Maybe have a bit of a shimmy or a wiggle if you need to. Adjust things if you need to. Nice. So from here, we're going to meet at what I call the top of the mat, which is the short edge of your mat. My mat is always sort of traveling around this room, so I constantly have to adjust it back to being level. There we go. So we'll meet at the short edge of the mat, up here near the top, roughly near the top. Okay, find your footing. So by that I mean, think about perhaps bringing the feet underneath the hips and solidly planting down through all four corners of each foot. So the heel is grounded down and the two back corners of the heel, the outside edge of the little toe and the big toe are plugged down into the floor. You're solidly planted there. There can be a little bit of softness at your knees. You don't have to be kind of locked up, rigid. You can keep a little bit of springiness coming from your knees. So let's get into it. We're going to start to build this flow. We'll start with a really short little bit of pattern, and then we're going to start to add to it. So once you know the first bit, you'll seamlessly slide through it, and we'll add something each time. We'll go 3 times, I think, roughly, through a vinyasa, so 6 in total, 2 on each side, 1 on each side. So find your footing. Steady your breath. When you are ready, inhale to reach the arms up and overhead. Exhaling, imagine you are holding a very fragile vase between your hands, and you're going to bend your knees and put that very fragile vase down on the floor, all the way down to the ground. Hold it there. Allow the fragile vase to touch down on the ground. Let your hands go, let your head go. Slide your hands up the fronts of your shins, exactly as we did to start with, but they're only going to come up as far as your knees. Your back body flattens out, halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale to fold all the way down. Nice. From here, reaching out in front, catch hold of that fragile vase. This time, you're going to inhale, draw it up to shoulder height as you sit the bum low, holding out in front. Hoping somebody might take it off you, but they're not going to. You're going to have to hold it here in your chair pose, inhaling to lift your chest, exhaling to sit your bum low. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, place that fragile vase that's between the hands down on the floor, no breaking it. Leave it there, let go of it with your hands. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, press to stand. Exhale, your choice here, how your hands come down. They can come down in prayer to heart center, or they can come down by your side. It's totally up to you, whichever feels right. And you've got that option at the end of every round. You can choose to either bring hands down like this or out wide by your sides. So that's our first little bit of the pattern. So we'll come through it again. When you're ready, feet solidly planted. Inhale, breath, rise up. Arms reach up and overhead. As if you were lifting that fragile vase off a high shelf and then bringing it all the way down to the floor through a bent knee position, all the way down. It is one of a kind, irreplaceable, very, very fragile. Place it on the floor, slide your hands onto your legs. Inhale your halfway lift. You're looking to flatten your back like you were imagining the back of your body becomes a table. Exhale to fold all the way down. Pick up that fragile vase, inhale, lift it to shoulder height, sit your bum low, coming into chair. You've got a couple of breaths here, so find something that's maintained, that you can maintain, that's sustainable. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, sit your bum low. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fragile vase goes down to the floor. Allow the hips to lift, forward fold. Let go of it, push the feet into the floor. As you inhale, your arms reach up towards the ceiling to stand. Exhale, your hands come down however you like. Hands going all the way down. Steady breath in stillness here. So that's the first little bit. We'll build on it from here. We're going to add to that. You know that bit. If in doubt, you come back to that bit. Feet are planted. Hands hang heavy. As if there's a piece of string at the crown of your head, pulling you up towards the ceiling, standing up tall. And we'll go for it. Your next inhale breath, use it to sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, fragile vase, all the way down to the floor. So really holding it lightly between your hands. See if you can relax your shoulders and your arms as you come down. Place it on the ground. Let go of it. Hands to your body to come into your halfway lift. Inhale to rise. Beautiful. Exhale to fold all the way down, long over the legs. Pick up that vase. Inhale to rise to chair. Hold it out in front. Shoulders are relaxed. You don't want to be shoulders tight because you'll grip it too tightly and it'll smash. Light with your hands, light with your shoulders. Bum sits low, chest lifts on an inhale. Exhale, we're going to fold again this time. So all the way down, put that vase down on the floor, let it go. Fingertips to the floor. A bend in your knees. You're going to step your right foot back behind you. Put your hands down, step your left foot back behind you. So we're going to downward facing dog. We're going to lift the bum up high. There can be a bend in your knees here if you want there to be. So let's play around with something different. If you know a plank rollout, you're very welcome to just come straight in and join me with the first one. If you're not sure what a plank rollout looks like, my suggestion is you drop your knees down on the floor and just watch this first one, because it's a set of movements that we want to do kind of in order. So if you're coming with me, steady yourself now. If you're watching the first one, just drop your knees. We're going to inhale, lift up through the heels. Exhale, bend the knees, pull the belly in and ripple the body out forwards to plank. All the way forwards off the toes. Hit plank, take an inhale breath. Exhaling, bends the knees, send the hips up high. Back to downward facing dog. That is one plank rollout. We're going to go for 2 more. So if you feel ready, come in and join us. Inhale, heels high. Exhale, roll the body, ripple it forwards to plank. Your head is the last thing to arrive. Inhale in plank. Exhale, bends the knees, sort of locomotion through the hips as you send the hips up high. Last one. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, roll it out all the way through to plank. Hit plank, take an inhale breath. Exhale, send the hips up high. Nice. From here, you are going to breathe in and lift your right toes off the ground. They don't have to go up very high, but you want to lift them up. Big inhale breath. Exhale breath. Step your right foot as far forwards as you can possibly manage. But it doesn't matter if it's not come all the way, because we're going to put the left knee down on the ground. Left knee gently down on the ground. And that means when the left knee comes down, you can reshuffle this right foot into a better position if you need to. You want it to be like you could fit a packing box in this shape underneath your right knee. So this shape that you've got underneath your right knee, you want to be able to tuck a box in there nice and squarely. Untuck your left toes, left shin presses into the mat. Left hand is going to come down and find the floor. And as you inhale, sweep the right arm up and open as you bring yourself into a twist. Your belly is facing towards your right thigh. Big inhale breath here. Exhale breath here. See if you can soften through your jaw, your shoulders and your head. Inhale breath, reach up. Exhale, right hand gently comes back to find the floor. You're going to hook your right. So this is a little slightly odd little hand gesture. You're going to hook your right thumb, so an L shape, like a backwards L for loser, between your right thumb and forefinger. Your right thumb is going to hook in the space just behind the back of your knee. And you just can't see it when I do it. I've tried doing it at all different angles. You just can't see it when I do it. Hook your thumb behind your knee. It makes sense in a minute. Left fingertips are on the floor. It's an inhale. It's going to pull your body forwards, lengthen, look forwards, lift your chest. Exhale, you're going to push into that thumb that's behind your right knee and use it to round your back body, chin to chest. Inhale breath, let that pressure go. Look forwards, lengthen forwards, chest forwards. Exhale breath, press into the thumb, pull the belly away from the thigh, tuck the chin to the chest, round in. Go one more of those. Inhale to lengthen, release the pressure, let the calf muscle get a break. Exhale, now you'll push into the thumb, pressing hand into the space behind the back of the knee. The calf muscle switches on. You're rounding all of the back body, chin tucked to the chest. Inhale to release, let that go. Right fingertips are going to find the floor. Right fingertips find the floor. You're going to tuck these back toes underneath you. Pop the back knee off the mat. Maybe a little bit of movement here if you want it. You're very welcome to kind of get a stretch or a wiggle through either leg. And when you feel ready, you're simply going to step your left foot up to beside your right foot. Back hip width distance apart in your forward fold. And what have we found down here? It's that flipping fragile vase again. You're going to pick it up between both hands. Inhale to lift it out, shoulder height, sit the bum low, back to your chair. Exhale, breath, settle into it, soften your shoulders, release your grip slightly. You don't want to be holding too tight. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale, sit down into it. Inhaling, you're going to press through the feet, reach the arms up overhead, lift to stand. Exhale, let your hands come down however you like. Nice, so we're going to do exactly that again, moving through on our other leg. Those plank rolls are totally optional. So if you're feeling a bit knackered, or you don't fancy them, they just don't suit you, you're not working with your shoulders today, that's fine. You're welcome to skip them. You can stay in downward facing dog, you can rest your knees on the floor, or you can hold a plank if you're feeling very brave. So feet are firmly planted, arms hang heavy, crown of the head lifts, back body is long. Inhale, the arms reach up and overhead. Exhaling, bend the knees, gently place that fragile vase all the way down onto the floor. By the end of it, you're going to know this vase so well, you'll know exactly what colour it is. Inhale to your halfway lift, flatten your back body. Exhale to fold back in, yes, really nice, that's exactly it. Picking up the vase, inhale, rise to your chair, hold it out in front, shoulders soft, grip isn't too tight, knees are tracking over your toes, you'll pull the belly away from the thighs. See if you can sit down with your next exhale breath. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, we fold all the way back in, vase to the floor, fingertips to the floor. This time you're going to step back, left leg, then right leg to join it, to your downward facing dog. Adjust your hands and feet. If you've come into a wonky downward facing dog, don't hang around there. Feel free to make changes. Get yourself settled in downward facing dog first. The sensations we're after in downward facing dog are body weight pressing back, tailbone lifting high. Knees can be bent, heels can be off the floor. Mine always are. When you're ready, let's go for it. Into those plank rolls if you're coming. Inhale, heels high. Exhale, pull the belly in and roll yourself out to plank. All the way out to plank. Your head arrives last. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knees. Send it up and back. You've got two more. Inhale, heels high. This is actually your last two of the practice because we do something different in the next round. So make the most of them. Exhale, send the hips up and back. Last one. Inhale, rise up. Make space for it to really roll off the toes, ripple your way out to plank, hip plank, inhale. Exhale, hips high, all the way up. So you're going to lift your left toes off the floor with this inhale breath. And on your exhale, swing that left foot in and underneath the body. Doesn't matter if it gets stuck because your right knee is going down to the floor straight away. And if you're a bit tight, so this feels a bit tight for me, I've not got enough room, I'm just going to shuffle my left foot forwards to make a bit of space. Once you've got that settled, untuck those right toes, right shin presses into the floor. Right hand is down, inhaling sweeps our left arm up and open into the twist. So if the left arm has come up and there is now a pinching or a sharp sensation behind your left shoulder, you're just going to drop that left arm a bit until it goes away. Because you really don't want to be in any kind of sharp discomfort behind that left shoulder. It's very common in people who've had kind of old shoulder injuries that there's a bit in there that's just really pinchy and sharp. So we'll keep it away from that. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale, left hand is coming all the way down and hooking in behind your left knee. So thumb in behind your left knee. Right hand is planted on the mat, and as you inhale, you're going to draw everything forwards as if you are snaking forwards. There's no pressure here as I breathe in. And as I breathe out, I'm going to push into the hand. I'm going to round the body, touch into chest. Release the left hand pressure. Inhale to let the chest pull through. Exhale, pressure into the left hand, tuck the chin to the chest, round back. So you might notice that my hips are moving. You are free to let the body move as you go here. Release the pressure, inhale. Exhale, press into the left hand, tuck everything in, round the back body. This time we're going to inhale, release, look forward, left hand to the mat. Tuck the right toes underneath, you pop the right knee off the floor. A little wiggle here if you want it. Maybe a little play with some movement if that feels good. And then when you're ready, this right foot simply steps to match the left foot. You're in your forward fold. You're going to catch up your favourite fragile vase. Inhale, lift it into chair pose, sitting the bum low. Belly pulls away from the thighs, shoulders are relaxed. Inhale here. Exhale to sit down into it if you can. Inhale here. Exhale, shoulders soft. Inhale, push into the feet, rise to stand. Exhale, hands float down however you like. Pause in stillness. Let the body soften and relax. Let the shoulders drop. If you need to move, you're welcome to move. If stillness is working for you, take a couple of breaths here. So, that's our pattern. starting to become a little bit more familiar, some of those shapes maybe. This is our last round. This is the round where we add on the most things, so it's going to become the longest sequence. We're going to do it once on each side, and then we'll work our way down to the floor. So find your feet. Ground down through the feet, solidly planted. When you're ready, inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, fragile vase down to the ground. So bend the knees. Bend the elbows if you need to, soften the shoulders. All the way down, place it on the floor. Inhale your halfway lift, hands on the body, sliding up to the kneecaps. As you imagine, the back of your body is so flat you could use it like an ironing board. Exhale, fold your way in, all the way down. Pick up that vase, inhale, lift it to chair, sit the bum low. Holding it out in front of your chest. Chest is lifted, perhaps gaze is lifted. You're looking to see if anybody might come and take this flipping vase away from you, but now you're stuck with it. Take an inhale breath. Exhale to release it all the way back down to the ground. Fingers to the mat. Step right foot back. Step left foot back. Find your downward facing dog. Downward facing dog. So take your time in setting it up. Make sure it feels kind of like a steady place for you to be. And this time we're going to play with something different here. We're going to bring this left foot a little bit more towards the right foot. So it moves into the space that is between where your feet were. So you can inhale your right leg up nice and high this time and have the left foot to keep you steady. Once the right foot has lifted, take an inhale breath. Exhale to roll your body forwards as if you were going to plank and bring your knee towards your nose. Tuck everything in, chin to chest. Same as we did when we had that grip on our knee. Inhale, send the leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, draw it in. We're going to go for 3 more. Inhale, send it up and back. Exhaling, knee to nose. Take breaks if you need to. You don't have to come for every single one. We go twice more if you're with us. Exhale, pull the knee in, pull the belly in. Last one, inhale, send it up and back. This time, exhale, step it as far forward as you possibly can manage. If it gets stuck, it doesn't matter because you're going to gently put your left knee down on the ground. Nice. Shuffle your right toes forwards if you need to. Get yourself steady. Left hand stays down. Inhale, right arm opens into your twist. So you know to look for those kind of that softness between the shoulder blades. If there is sharpness there, soften the lift of that top arm. Inhale, breath here. Exhale, gently releases the right arm down to the floor. Right hand to the mat. You're going to inhale, sweep the fingertips up and overhead. Something slightly different here. Exhaling, you're going to interlace your fingers and just push your palms out in front. And as you do that, you're going to really need to pull the belly in to keep you balanced. So belly pulling in. We'll go again. Inhale, fingertips loose, lifting up overhead. Exhale, push the hands out in front, interlacing the fingers, tucking chin to chest. Last one. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, gently, fingertips to the floor. So if there's a wobble on your way down and you lose your balance, don't worry about it. Fingertips to the floor, really nice. Tuck the left toes underneath. Pop the left knee off the floor. So this is where we start to add on something we've not played with yet. We're going to allow the left heel to fall down to the ground. So let the left heel tuck in towards the body as it falls down to the ground. Your left arm is going to lead the way as you cartwheel the body open. And you'll end up standing with 2 feet on the floor. Your right foot pointing straight ahead, your right knee pointing in the same direction as your big toe. Your left foot is at a 45-degree angle or thereabouts. Your left little toe side of the foot is pressing down. Forget about your arms for now, just let them go. And when you're ready, you're going to take an inhale, sweep the arms up into the center of the chest. Exhale, let them extend out. Your warrior 2. Your shoulders are relaxed. You're looking out over your right middle fingernail in the same direction as your knee. Your hips are steady here. Take an inhale breath. Exhale to settle into it. Let's move here. We're going to inhale, reach forwards. We're going to exhale, float back. We're going to inhale, reach back. You can straighten your front leg if you want to. Exhale to drop back to warrior two. So that is your little kind of dancing warrior pattern. It goes inhale to move forwards. Exhale to lightly float back, soft, soft, soft. My arms are bent, my shoulders are really relaxed. And now I kick it into gear, inhaling to reach. Exhale to float back to warrior two. Last one on this side. Inhale, reach forwards. Exhale, softly float back. Doesn't matter if you don't get all the way there. Inhale to reach, turn it on, switch up, reach for the ceiling. Exhale to float back to warrior two, remembering to bend your right knee when you return to warrior two. From here, inhale, lift the chest, look forwards. Exhale, reverse back the way you came. Left hand coming down, left heel is going to lift away from the mat as the hands come down to the floor. Hands come down to the floor. You're welcome to move a little bit if you want to. Get a wiggle in there. And then when you're ready, simply step. Left foot up to match right foot. You're back in your forward fold. You can pedal, move, shimmy, shake, whatever you need. And from here, scoop up that vase that is out in front. Lift it up in line with your chest as you sit the bum low into chair, inhaling. Exhale to settle. Soften your shoulders. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, sit a little lower. Your second to last one. Inhale, rise up. Fingertips to reach. Exhale, hands float down by your sides. You go straight into total stillness. Let the shoulders be soft. Take a relaxed breath. So that same little pattern on our other side. So we'll see how it feels to play with it on the other side. So when you're ready, feet are firmly planted. It's your last float through. Inhale, reaches the arms up and overhead. Exhale, bend the knees, lightly hold that one-of-a-kind museum-worthy vase in your hands as you bring it down to the floor. Pop it down on the floor lightly. Hands slide up the front of the body as you come to a flat back, breathing in, halfway lift. Exhale, fold all the way down, long over your legs, really nice. Scoop that vase back up, bring it up in line with your chest, sit your bum low, inhale to rise. Chair pose, nice. Your back is long. You're thinking of reaching your tailbone back and down rather than sticking your bum out. So you're sitting down into that comfortable chair. Last breath, inhale here. Exhale, pop the vase down on the floor, let it go. Nice, fingertips to the mat. You are going to step back your left foot and then your right foot to join it, to downward facing dog. So in this downward facing dog, we've got that leg lift that we go for with the breath. So we'll bring the right foot a little bit closer to the left. You basically bring it in so the right foot can be really solid. It's in the middle. And then when it's in the middle like this, you can inhale, lift the left leg up nice and high. Exhale to start it off, pulling the left knee in towards the nose, rounding the body, rolling off the right toes, almost in plank. Inhale, send the leg up and back. Exhale to pull it in, knee to nose. Inhale, you've got 3 more. I don't know where that noise came from, but I've been doing it for years and I can't stop. Pull the knee into the nose. If you fancy trying it, it does sometimes help. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, pull it in. Last one. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, swing that left foot forwards underneath the body as far as you can get it to come. If it gets stuck, don't worry. Put the right knee down and allow yourself time to shuffle it into the right place. That's the beauty of where we're headed. When we go down to the ground like that, it just gives you a bit of a breather. Right hand on the floor. Untuck those right toes, so it's your shin pressing down. I promise it makes you more stable. Inhale when you're ready, left arm rises. Opening up through the chest, as much as makes sense in your shoulders. No sharp pain, no discomfort here. And also, it doesn't have to be perfectly still. So if there are little wiggles that feel great, get stuck into them. Nice. Last breath, inhale, reach. Exhale, left hand gently floats to the ground. And then both arms rise up overhead, inhale. Exhale, hands press out in front. Interlacing the fingertips, you're going to pull the belly in away from the thigh, as if you're trying to kind of scoop the body into a hollow shape. Loosen the fingertips, let them rise up with your inhale breath. Exhale, push away. Hollow the body out, pull the belly back. Last one, inhale, fingertips. Exhale to press away. Lovely. Very nice. Inhale, fingertips are going to rise. And then exhaling, they're going to come down to the ground. All the way down. Once the fingertips are on the floor, tuck these right toes underneath, pop the right knee off the mat. And we're going to make that transition into our warrior two. So I'm just going to flip around so you can see what I'm doing. Your right heel is going to drop to the ground. So let your right heel fall in, little toe side of the right foot pressing down as your right arm leads the way on this big cartwheel up and open into your warrior two. Forget about your hands for a moment. Just let them go. Let your shoulders be heavy. It's a nice break to switch the arms off for a minute. Let's just check in with our feet. So left toes point straight ahead. Left knee follows in the direction of the toes. And it's almost like your body is kind of drawn in that direction too. Your right heel presses down. Your right foot's at a 45-degree angle. This right leg is really strong. So if you find this right leg is caving in, that's a lot of work for your front leg. See if you can really fire up. You can test whether things are working by giving them a poke. So see if you can give the back of this leg a little poke, maybe the front of the leg, and just see if that muscle is it switched on? Can I switch it on a bit more? Resist the pressure of your finger. Once you've got the feet positioned, inhale, hands come up to the chest. Exhale, settle into your warrior two, opening the arms out wide. Still breath here. And then we'll have a little dance with it, inhaling to take it forwards. Exhaling to float back some of the way, keep it soft. Inhale, switch it on now, reach. And as I reach my left arm up, I'm really thinking about reaching my right hand down at the same time. And then exhaling to float back to warrior two. Arms come to parallel to the floor. Knee bends. We'll go twice more through that little rhythm. If you've got it, you're very welcome to just go ahead and match it up with your own breath. You don't have to move at the same time as me. Exhale to float back. Last one. Inhale to reach. Exhale to float. Inhale to reach. Exhale to float it back. Warrior two. Find it solid. When you're ready, you reverse back out of warrior two the same way you came in. Your right arm comes up and over. Your right heel lifts and both hands come down to the floor. Right toes, when you feel ready, are going to step up and match with the left. Feet hip width distance apart. Scoop up. This is your last one. I promise you, your last one. Scoop up that fragile vase off the floor. Hold it out in front as you sit the bum low. Sitting low into your chair pose, inhaling to lift the chest. Exhaling to sit the bum down. Last breath. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, soften the shoulders, loosen your grip. Inhale, rise to stand. Reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands float down however you like. Total stillness, one breath. When you're ready, we're going to make our way down to the ground. We're going to play with a little variation of a squat on our way down. If you know that a squat pose does not suit your knees, my suggestion is to skim right past it and sit down on your bum instead. And we'll meet you there, sitting on your bum. So you won't be too far behind us either way. So feet firmly planted, hip width distance apart. We're going to reach the arms up and overhead. And then we're just going to fold in. Let go of the valves, just fold. all the way down. Let the head hang. Fingertips are going to find the floor, and you're going to tip your body weight forwards into your toes. So these hands, do you remember when we did the thin ice out in front? The hands are going to find their position so they can act like stabilizers, so you can lift your heels off the floor. Come up on your tiptoes. Take an inhale breath. Exhaling, you're going to sit the bum down towards the heels. Hands are here to stabilize you. So you come into this little kind of crouching squat shape. If this is way too intense for you, or if this just feels plenty, this is enough, you can stay here, or you can lightly guide your bum down to the floor whenever you need to. If you quite like this position and you're interested in playing with something here, you're going to let your knees spill out wide and walk your hands out in front. Thinking about reaching your heels down towards the ground. They don't have to touch the floor. Mine do not touch the floor. They're just a little bit away. Lengthening in the back body. Whenever you're done with this, we'll just walk the hands back in. And if you haven't gone there already, we'll bring the hands behind us to just guide our bum down to the ground. Trying to avoid crashing onto the floor. Very nice. Once you've got yourself down on the ground, our last little movement, this is our last kind of stretch before we lay ourselves down. When we come to lay down, we will move a little bit. But this is our last little stretch, and we're going to hold it for a couple of breaths. So I'll talk through it nice and steady. You're going to find yourself with your feet in straddle. And when I say straddle, I mean a kind of wide-legged position that is sustainable. So what happens is, if you go too wide with your feet, so if I take my feet out all the way, what happens is I struggle to sit up and I find myself sort of kind of falling backwards. You want a position where you can really sit the body up nice and tall. And it might not be that wide, that's fine. Once you've got your straddle, I'm just trying to work out the best kind of angle to show you what I'm doing. I'll do it this way. Once you've got your straddle, you might want to sort of scoop some of the flesh of your bum out from underneath you, sit up nice and tall on your sit bones. You're going to take an inhale breath, lift through the chest, lengthen. And as you exhale, you're going to turn and bring both hands out over your left hip. And to get both hands there, you're going to have to turn the body and let the right bum cheek lift away from the mat. Let the right bum cheek lift away from the mat. That's cool. You're going to relax your right leg completely. Let it go soft, almost like your right leg has become your tail. It's going to make sense, I promise you. And then from here, we're going to roll over the left hip, walking our hands away, dragging this right leg behind us. So we end up kind of turning the body and rolling onto the outside edge of the left leg. Once you've got to there, if you can, you might play around with coming down onto your forearms. Right leg is super relaxed. There is length through this right hip. So into the side of my waist, I feel it in the front of my hip. I also feel a bit of a compression sensation on the inside of that left hip. And you can play around with movement here. You can kind of rock into and out of the stretching action. There might be some stretching in the middle back, some twisting. If you're up on your hands, you can hold it here up on your hands. You don't have to come down if you don't want to come down. So it's like a kind of a slightly twisted, more open version of our pigeon pose. When you are ready, all you are going to do is lightly push your way back up. Allow your right bum cheek to roll back onto the ground, and you'll be back in your straddle. When you get to your straddle, you want a little wiggle or to loosen things off, or a little stretch of any kind. Please do feel free to take it. And then we'll come into that on the other side. So I'll try and show you on the other side as well. So fingertips in the middle to start off with, body upright. Take an inhale breath, lengthen. Exhale breath, both hands onto the outside of your right hip, which means your left bum cheek comes away from the floor a bit. Let that happen. Take an inhale breath, lift your chest. Drag the body out over this right leg. Left leg is relaxed now. You're peeling the body out over this right leg. And then when you get to your kind of sweet spot, the place where that is like, oh, that's an interesting shape. That's an interesting sensation. You might choose to drop onto your elbows if you've got the room for that. Left leg relaxed. Right heel might press away from the body, so you might have right leg quite active. Doesn't have to be, but it will intensify things if you want that right leg switched on. You can stay up on your hands if on your elbows is just too intense. Last breath here. And then when you're ready, gently pressing into the hands, just walking your way back up and in. Rolling left bum cheek back to the ground. Have a bit of a wiggle here if you need it. Scoop the feet in. I would say both feet on the floor for a transition down to the ground, just so you're nice and steady. All we're going to do here is bring ourselves to lay down on our backs. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just lay yourself down on your back of the head finds the floor. Let's keep the soles of the feet on the floor for now and the knees pointed up towards the ceiling. The hands can rest wherever you like. So they can rest on your belly, by your sides. They can lightly sort of be up here overhead if that's interesting to you. All we're going to do is windscreen wiper the knees. This is going to be our final movement. Just allowing the knees to drop towards the right and towards the left, rolling through the sole of the foot and rolling through the lower back. Rolling through the top of the bum, the outside edge of the hip. These parts of the body that have worked really hard in our various sort of forward folds and our lunges and our chair pose. As you roll backwards and forwards, just allow the breath to start to slow down. You might find that this rolling backwards and forwards, this windscreen wipering of the knees, you might find it naturally progresses into a different movement. You might find that you want to do something different here before you bring yourself into your final relaxation. Or you might find that you're completely ready to simply stop that movement and bring yourself into stillness. Your final relaxation, your Shavasana, your final resting pose, is exactly that. It's the pose in which you can finally rest. So maybe you want to stretch your legs out long and have your hands by your sides, but maybe equally you want to keep your feet on the floor or your hands on the belly, or maybe you want to lie on your side using your arm as a pillow. Maybe there's a different position you'd like to be in. Perhaps lying down isn't suiting you and you'd rather sit up. You find here the shape that makes most sense in your body. The shape that your body can come into and kind of breathe that final sigh and drop into softness. When we drop into this stillness, this softness, at the end of our practice, in our final resting pose, we come back to that gentle, non-judgmental reflection. Sitting back and observing how the body feels. Observing how the breath is. Observing kindly and with no judgment what's happening in the mind. Allowing this sense of relaxation, this sense of ease to just come over the body in waves. every cell with a sense of peace. And then when you're ready, bring your attention to your breath. Notice your inhale, bringing with it into the body new, fresh energy. Enough energy in your inhale breath, maybe, to start a wiggle of the toes or a stretch of the fingers. Maybe you want to roll your ankles or your wrists. Maybe you like the sensation of turning the head from side to side. However you choose to wake the body up, make sure these are movements that feel really good. Really good. Maybe eventually there's enough power in your inhale breath to stretch the arms up and overhead and take a full body stretch, like a yawn for your whole body from fingertips to toes. That really got me. And then when you're ready, draw your knees into the chest and give yourself a big hug. Squeeze everything in. Rolling in your own time onto your favourite side, or whichever side feels right for you. And then from that position on your side, gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Once you found yourself seated, you might keep your eyes looking down at the floor, or you might keep your eyes closed, just for this final moment. This last opportunity to soak up every last drop of your practice, to really wallow in these sensations. When you feel ready, you're very welcome to seal your practice with a gesture of gratitude. If that suits you, maybe you want to bow your head to your heart, or bring your hands to heart center, or anything else that feels right in your body. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks, guys. I'm going to come over there a little closer. If you do want to just scarper, you're very welcome to. If you want to say hello, you can unmute yourself. If you're still in Shavasana, don't feel like you need to rush and get up.